Hey guys, I'm Noel today. So yeah, the Springboks have just announced their squad for the 2021 tour for South Africa. And yeah, overall I'm saying pretty impressed, with the squad overall. This is their 46-man squad, just to make that clear. This is not like their official one. Obviously they'll make a few changes, I'm guessing, based on the actual Lions series itself. Obviously the games coming beforehand. But yeah, this is the squad that they have gone with. I'll run them by you guys, and yeah, I'll tell you what I think about them. So obviously, here is the forwards that the Springboks have gone with. And with the hookers, of course, they have gone with the likes of Malcolm Marks and Mbombe, who I do believe are, of course, are the main two hookers they're going to go with, and that's kind of the expected ones to say at least, because both of them really, you could say, started most of the games or came off the bench within the 2019 World Cup. Obviously Mbombe, or you could say, Bongi, he was normally the starter, but obviously Malcolm Marks would come off the bench as usual. So yeah, I think that combination works very well. In my opinion, this could be the last time we see that combination. I don't think that will kind of last after this tournament, I believe, but we'll have to wait and see. But more or less, yeah, no, they have come with the likes of, Dueba as well, Joseph Dueba, and yeah, he's done very well, I'd say. Obviously he was an ex-cheetah, but now he's done well within the French division. And yeah, I think overall he's definitely stepped up. I think he's at Bordeaux, obviously, and yeah, he's definitely. I haven't watched too much of his game, to be honest, but I know that I know he's been praised a lot there, so yeah, I'm happy to see him within that one. And I think he's probably the up and coming hooker after Malcolm Marks and Mbombe. Obviously, they have gone with Mbombe as well, and he's done well, obviously within. I think for the Stormers, yeah. So kind of a standard, I say, selection for the hookers they've gone with. So obviously with the props, they do the likes of Thomas du Toit, they have the likes of Steven Klitschkov, you do have the likes of Vincent Gogh, Frans Malherbe, you have like Oxteche, you have Trevor Inganye, and of course Osterhazen. So yeah, overall I'd say I'm pretty impressed by all those props. I mean, there are a few that could have made it instead of them, but I think overall I would have gone with those 7. I think those 7 really stand out between the rest. I mean, obviously you have some players in there who can play both tight head and loose head, which is kind of useful to have. With the likes of you could say Ox. Ox is one of those players I'd say, and he's one that you could say he's not in the best form, but for the reason that he's kind of versatile and can play both of those positions, I like him in that sense. Even like Inkanye's. Trevor Inganye, he's also a similar player in that sense where they can both play both positions. So for that reason, I like both of them. I mean, Osterhazen's done well, obviously within sales. So he definitely deserves to be there. And obviously, you kind of have the main two really with Malherbe and Klitschkov, who are just brilliant in that sense, and obviously are probably the best combination for South Africa or for the Springboks when going into that Lions series in the first. For me, I would say those two are probably my starting props. Obviously, those two, in my opinion, are the best scrummagers, but we'll have to wait and see what they go with. But yeah, that's kind of with the props. I mean, obviously with their locks, they haven't gone with. They've actually gone with a lot of locks here, which kind of I'm not going to say is unsurprising because you have a few players who obviously aren't going to play it. But yeah, you have the likes of Lord Diego, obviously Elvin Etzebev. You have the likes of Nico Janse van Vandenberg, and he's the one who I'm kind of surprised about, to be completely honest, but I understand why they've gone with him. He's kind of a young, I'm not saying a young lock, because he's like 27, I believe, at this point in time, so, but he's more or less, I can see why they've gone with him, for the reasons that, I think he's played, I can see why they've gone with him. I mean, there are other players like Franco Mostert, Marvin Ole, obviously he's done very well with the Sharks. For me, I actually like him a lot. I like him because obviously he can also fit in as a 6. He's versatile in that sense, so I kind of like him in that position as well. And obviously you have RJ Simon. So yeah, I think overall that's kind of the locks you would have gone with. I think the starting locks I think are still, in my opinion, personally I would go with Franco Mostert and maybe Delega, I think. I mean, those are the two that I like, but obviously most people would maybe go with Etzbeth and Simon. So it's one of those which you can obviously debate within that position. But moving on to the loose forwards, and this is the one which I'm probably going to say there's a lot of debate, you could say, that can go into this. The big omission from this loose forward pack that he's not even on here is Kotsia, which is Marcel Kotsia, which is surprising to say the least because he's been brilliant. It's just one of those where I would have thought he actually would have been in there. I mean, obviously they have gone with the likes of Dan Dupuis as well as Jean-Luc Dupuis, obviously both playing for Sale, and it's one of those where I do believe that position has been taken by one of them, but I'll get into that later. I mean, even like Elster, like he's
I don't get why he's in person. I think Kolisi is ahead of him. I mean, obviously Esa is playing for one player, but he's not like the starting. He's not the main man there. It's one of those where that's why Kolisi. I just don't get why he's not in that position, or why he's not even been selected. But yeah, there must be something I don't know that why they haven't gone with him. But yeah, you do have the likes of Dwayne Vermeulen, of course, Peter Stephatore, and then of course Sid Kolisi. So you do have the main three in there, and probably the most likely three to start for the first test against the Lions. But yeah, you do also have the likes of Espelette, who I was saying before, and then also Marco van Staden, who he's done pretty well, I'd say, for the Bulls. So yeah, I'm overall pretty impressed by that. And also you have Jasper YC as well, who's also a young, I believe, an uncapped player. So it'll be good to see how he does, obviously transition into the Springboks for the first time. But other than that, I think that's kind of all I have to say within that position. I just think Kolisi is probably the main one who I would have added, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with that forward pack. So anyway, moving on to the backs for the Springboks. And yeah, here are the backs, of course, for the Springboks. You guys can see them. And yeah, I'll run them by you guys, and yeah, I'll tell you what I think about them. Because this is where the backs, I think there's a lot more debate, in my opinion, I'd say, within the backs. I mean, first of all, with the scrum halves, I mean,
Scrum halves, I say, is a pretty easy one in that sense, where you do the likes of Flat the Kirk, Herschel Yankees, Kobus Reiner, and then obviously Slane Nohaba. And he's the last one with Nohaba, he's the one who, he's the questionable one in my opinion. I don't think he's probably been you have to understand, he's the fourth choice scrum half, so it's not really the biggest debate in the world, but obviously you could have other names included instead of him, but overall I think I'm pretty happy with the scrum half selection. I mean, Flathaker obviously is the number one and most likely one to start for the Springboks within that first test, so we'll see how he does, but hopefully he doesn't get injured, or just I would hate that if one of these players got injured. But anyway, moving on to the centres, of course. For the centre, we'll go to the fly halves. The fly halves, you do the likes of Elton Yankees, Andre Pollard, of course, who's recently come back from Montpellier, and that's probably the biggest, you could say, not addition, but obviously just player who's come back from an injury. So yeah, I'm happy to see him. And of course, the Mornay Stain has been selected, and this is probably the one which you could definitely argue a case for why they've gone with him, but also see why they shouldn't have picked him. In my opinion, okay, first of all, I'll say why they've gone with him. Obviously he has a lot of experience. He probably has one of the most cap players within the squad for sure. I mean, you do look at him, and yeah, he has experience in playing the Lions. So it's one of those which I can understand why they've gone with him. And also he's very versatile in the sense where he can play, at 10, even 15 if he has to, and obviously the centre. So it's one of those where I can understand why they selected him, but I still think I would have gone with Curran Bosch. I mean, Curran Bosch for me, I think I'm a bit biased in that sense where I really like Curran Bosch and what he's done for the previous years. You could say maybe now he hasn't been as, I would say he's still in form, but that's obviously up for debate. But yeah, I can understand why they've gone with Mornay Stain, but it's one of those where I'm just like, Curran Bosch, he could have even started within that the outside backs, but of course they haven't selected him within that area, because obviously he's also versatile in that sense where he could play 15 and 10. So it's one of those which I'm kind of debating why they haven't gone with him, but yeah, I can understand why they've gone with Mornay Stain as well. But moving on to the centres, of course, you do the usuals with Lucanio Am as well as Damien Delende, of course, making that pairing who were just sensational to watch during the 2019 World Cup, and most likely be starting to, of course, for this Lion Steers. But you do also have the likes of Jesse Clear, which is kind of surprising in that sense. Jesse Clear is the one which, in my opinion, I think you needed to go with. I think it was time to move on from him and obviously going with someone more younger within that position. But I understand why they've obviously gone with him, stick with that experience in that sense. You do have the likes of Van Steen as well, so he will be competing within this Lions tour as well. And that's, very excited to see that, because he's just been powering through this whole time. He's played for such a long time, and it's great to see that he's still continuing. So I'm not sure, what's going to happen here. At this rate, he could be selected for the next World Cup, so I just want to see what happens. But yeah, excited to see him in there, and obviously he's another versatile player to have, so that's kind of good to have. But I think the big name, obviously, that's in the centres, which I'm kind of happy to see, because he's just been very impressive, particularly for the Lions, but just Simane. He's just been Similane. Similane has just been. He's been incredible. I've watched so many highlights of him, and obviously I've seen so many games of what he's been playing for. But man, he's one for the future for sure. And I believe he's 23 years old. correct me below, I might be wrong with that, but he's around that age, and yeah, he's definitely one for the future. So I'm definitely happy they've included at least one centre for the future, because that's what I think they needed to kind of transition into that next World Cup. But anyway, moving on to the outside backs, and yeah, this is the last one, of course, for the backs. You do the likes of, Willie LaRue, as well as, Cheslin Kobe and then Pimpy, obviously making it that trio who obviously started within that Rugby World Cup final. But you do actually have a surprising a lot of. I would say for me, I'm very happy with the people they've actually included. The big one being Fassi as well as Speckman. So happy to see those two. To be fair to them, I mean Speckman, of course. I mean he's just been part of that sevens roots in that sense. Now he's kind of been playing for the Springboks sevens for a long period of time. Obviously, then joined I believe the Stormers first, then the Cheetahs, then he played a bit for the Bulls, and he's kind of transitioned in and out. But I'm happy to see him actually being included within this squad, because in my opinion, he definitely deserves it. He's just one of those players who's really stood out for the Springboks sevens, and his trajectory, I say, has he's done very well to actually get into the squad. So very happy for him, and obviously Fassi as well. He's just been brilliant for the Sharks, and he's one of those players who, in my opinion, is the next 15 for the Springboks. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. But because obviously Willie LaRue, he still will be the number one choice. But I think Fassi should be introduced, I think, within some of these test series. But we'll have to wait and see what they do within that, of course. But yeah, you do the likes of obviously Kolisi as well as Damien Williamson, which is probably you could say, I'm not going to say a shock one, because he's a great player overall, but you could say within recent form, I'm talking about recent form only, Williamson hasn't been the best. You can maybe argue that in the comments below, let me know what you think about that, but if you look at his play, he just hasn't really stood out in my opinion, but obviously I understand why he's been selected. Obviously a bit versatile, can play 10, 15, even 12, so it's one of those which I can understand why he's been selected. Yeah, I mean the last one obviously they're going with Pexi, who to be fair to them, I actually haven't seen a lot of him, but hopefully he kind of stands out within this tour and obviously makes a name for himself, at least for the future. So hopefully we'll wait and see what he does. But overall, I'm kind of impressed. I'd say overall from this whole squad. I mean, really the big omission I'd say from this squad is really Marcel Kolisi and maybe Kieran Bosch in my opinion. But other than that, I think I'm pretty impressed by the selection they've actually gone with, and I think overall, yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with this squad. I think they can really challenge the Lions, and it's one of those which when you look at the Lions squad, and I've done my video previously, they have a very strong and physical squad they've actually gone with this time, and it's one of those which the Springboks, fortunate enough, were able to see that squad beforehand before making their selection. So it's one of those which I'm very happy they've kind of gone with this kind of squad and more of a young / they have more experience than it, but also have put in a few younger players for the future. So I'm happy they kind of have more of a mix in that sense. But yeah, overall pretty happy, pretty pleased. But yeah, anyway, just that's kind of it with the video. Definitely, I want you guys to comment below. Definitely comment below. I want to see you guys reactions towards this, because I'm very excited for this. Obviously, I'm a Springbok fan, and this is just we don't get this often. We don't get 12. This is once in every 12 years, and obviously, I can't wait. I mean, obviously, the Lions tour is just one of those things which, if you look at it if you go from a non-rugby fan, if you tell them what is the most special thing, like what's the most special series or competition within rugby, I think most people would say the Lions tour, and it's just one of those which I'm just very excited for South Africa to play once again. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And I'll probably do more. I'll probably give my reactions maybe to the test series and all that later on. But overall, yeah, pretty impressed by this squad. And yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think about the squad. But other than that, just hope you guys have a good day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.